Well, there we have it. Another week. This is our first full week of September, which again is crazy. Our kiddos are back to school. Several of you watching, depending on where you are, it could be your second week of school. Football's in full swing. Vikings are playing as we speak. I won't spoil it for you. You can figure out exactly how that happens. And we're getting back after it. We're getting back after fall patterns. Probably one of my favorite times of year to fish. It's the middle of the day. We're still in a hooded sweatshirt. I do have some shorts on. Started the morning in soft shell pants, in a vest over the top of this. It was chilly this morning. I don't know the exact temp. I believe it got into the upper 40s, low 50s. That's what it felt like when we got out this morning when the sun was peeking out. That's the time of year we're looking at. I made a post on social media the other day. I kind of thought it was funny. It's the time of year where we start the day in shorts or in pants and long sleeve shirts or hoodies or whatever. And then we end the day in shorts and sun shirts. We got bees flying all over in here. Time of year, bees are everywhere. That's another fun thing about fall is the bees are up and at 'em. The wasps are loving life, as you know. Get a can of wasp spray. I got it sitting right there, and we'll see what's cooking. But yeah, these guys are just hanging out with us today. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you, whatever. So we're finding fall patterns. We're jumping into fall. Water temps are cooling. Water temps are staying cool. We're getting cool nights. I don't think we're going to get any massive warm-ups. But as fast as I say that, if you look at the forecast this next week, it's going to be warm. It's going to be in the mid, even upper 80s. So we'll have to see. I did not really pay attention to the lows. It's that time of year where that's where I really look at that temperature, is what is the low temperature at? Because that's what it's going to be for a long period of time, with the sun hitting the trees at 7:30 now and not getting up until 7:30 in the morning. So 12 hours of dark, so 12 hours of that lower temperature to really cool water down. Some things you want to think about in the fall. So we chased everything this week. We chased bass, obviously, largemouth, smallmouth. We chased walleyes, had some success on walleyes, had some failures on walleyes, starting to figure out what those fish are doing. Didn't really chase a lot of panfish, I'll be honest. The panfish rods are actually sitting right there. They didn't even go in the boat much this week because we were just predominantly targeting larger game fish and also coaching football and doing that sort of stuff. So it was a really busy week, a busy weekend, and that's how it's going to be here through the middle of October. But like many of you, well, we love busy. Busy is what keeps us going. Busy but no complaints. I've always said that term often, and I love it. So that's the nature of the beast. So how are we catching our fish? Water temps, low 70s. Low 70s. We're not seeing upper 70 water degree temp. And we might not see it anymore other than maybe an hour or two in the afternoons coming up here, and that's about it. It's going to trickle up upper 70s, maybe. Still believe it's going to stay in mid 70s for highs. We'll see. Could be wrong. So we're looking at low 70s. We're going to start seeing 60s here very quick. Fish are starting to move shallower. The pressure on the lakes is diminishing. The amount of boat traffic is diminishing. The amount of people out there zipping around and ripping and causing wakes and whatever else, diminishing. So we're starting to see a very productive pattern of fishing here, not just in the actual active fishing, but as anglers getting out there and being able to stay on spots, not get razzled up, not get, twirl up at the boat launches, because the boat launches, again, less attention, they're getting less pressure. So that's one of the reasons I like this time of year too, and I really, really like what's coming down the pipeline. We don't need to get ahead of ourselves, but when the docks start to get pulled, not the public docks, but all the landowners, once they start to pull their docks, I love it, because I can go through those shorelines, weeds are laid down, I can throw just about anything that swims, whether it's a swim bait, swim jig, chatterbait, shallow nubbing crankbait, you name it. Great time of year to catch them. So, but right now, we're going to work. We're going to work with a jig in our hand. We're going to work flipping, catching, casting, pitching. We're going to work with a chatterbait, moving bait. We're going to work with a swim bait. We're going to work with about anything. A wacky rig. This is the time of year where everything kind of gets back into limbo. You can catch them in 4 feet of water. You can catch them in 24 feet of water. You can catch them on a variety of different presentations. But we've just been going to work. I've been working with a medium heavy bait casting rod in my hand, flipping like a 3/8 ounce rattling AT jig from All Terrain, covering a lot of water, This seems to be very versatile. I can catch everything, like I said, from 4 feet to 15 feet outside weed lines. I can flip pockets, I can flip heavy cover, I can skip a dock, I can do lily pads, I can do whatever you want with this setup. So I'm using a 7-foot medium heavy bait casting rod. I got a 40-pound braided main line to a 17-pound or 14-pound fluorocarbon leader, and I got a 3/8 ounce rattling AT green pumpkin jig from All Terrain Tackle with a Mr. Twister pocket craw on the back. I do take a little bit off that pocket craw. I take about a 1/2 inch off, put it on there. I think it balances out, looks perfect. This right here is my workhorse. I got my Shimano reel on there. Everything's nice and neat in my hand. I can cover water, like I said, effectively. I can cast, I can pitch, I can flip. I can do all sorts of things with this setup. That's my workhorse right now. Another jig that I'm using right now is that I'm flipping, I'm punching, I'm getting into heavier cover. I'm throwing a Grassmaster, 3/4 ounce or 1 ounce Grassmaster. This is Okoboji Craw. I actually really like this color in the Twin Cities. Plays off that green pumpkin theme. It's got a little bit of blue in it though. Just like how that looks in the water. We're dealing with a lot of situations where these fish are feeding on bluegills and things like that. And then again, I'm putting that pocket craw on the back. Great profile. It's got that bullet, punchy shape head to it, right? That's the beauty of the Grassmaster. Top tie-eye, right on the top, right? That's gonna go right through those weeds. It's gonna punch through. It's not gonna get hung up. I got the trailer lock on there to hold my plastic in play. Real strong weed guard, but not too strong that I can't put the meat to the fish when I want to. And I'm using this on a 50 or 65 pound braid, even if I have to. And you can certainly tie direct depending on the cover you're flipping into. If you're flipping into heavy, nasty stuff, those fish don't care about the braid. A lot of times though, I will put like a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader on this, because a lot of times I'm flipping maybe some expansive open cover like milfoil, because underneath milfoil, it's a canopy. The fish can see what's going on. So I might switch to a fluorocarbon leader, but braided mainline. And oftentimes, when in doubt, just tie direct to your braid. Don't even mess around with the fluorocarbon. That's where the Grassmaster comes into play. We can definitely flip with a tungsten weight. And your favorite flipping hook and favorite plastic, like a flipping out from Mr. Twister. I use that a lot. A lot of you like to use craw tubes. We've got a pile of fish on craw tubes. There's a lot of plastics out there that can work really well in that scenario, just like that Grassmaster jig from All Terrain. But those are some options. We talked about chatterbaits last week. There's a bunch of them rigged up right here. They cut a pile of fish. Chatterbaits are super efficient, just chuck and wind. We are coming along spinnerbait time of year. We're going to talk spinnerbaits here in the coming weeks, and I'll explain to you why that's coming up. We talked about wacky rigs, easy way to catch fish right now. We talked about swim baits, using like a smasher, largie smasher, smallie smasher, head from All Terrain. Any of those work and pair up well, from swim baits to 3 inches to 5 or 6 inches. So swim baits are an effective way to catch a bunch of fish right now, whether it's on hard bottom rock, weed lines, covering water effectively, much like you would a crankbait. Ned rig, easy way to catch a fish right now. I think you get the drift. A lot of ways to catch them. Now the walleyes are starting to do some fun stuff, at least for me. I struggled the last several months to catch walleyes consistently. We got on here and there. Now we're starting to find some more consistent patterns. They're starting to eat swim baits. They're starting to eat jig worms and Ned rigs again. They're starting to eat, I'm guessing we're going to throw a bobber and a leech at them here in the next coming weeks. So I should say a bobber, even a minnow, or a jig and minnow. We might fish a jig and minnow. But rule of thumb here is they're starting to clump up again, starting to move out onto more obvious spots, starting to hit their hard bottom spots. I can see more of them on forward-facing sonar. I can see them clumped up again like I did earlier in June. So I'm excited to see what happens here the coming weeks on the walleye side of things. But the last several fish we caught were on moving baits, swim baits. Caught a handful on chatterbaits. I'm using that Mini Max chatterbait, that small version, little profile. It's amazing what that little bait catches. In fact, there's one rigged up right here on Ben's rod. I think we showed you this exact one last week. It's just a little guy, just a little one. Little blade, smaller profile. You can get the same weight you want. Stout hook, shorter hook, everything a little more compact. Mimics more of maybe a traditional bait fish, but that thing still purrs like a kitten. So that smaller Mini Max chatterbait is something you should have in your arsenal. So that's the idea with the walleye game, is maybe get a little more aggressive, move the baits a little more than you usually do. Don't just let it sit in their face, move it through, and you might catch more walleyes. So that's what we're looking at. we're excited. It's now September. We're going to come back at you in a week in mid-September. Time is flying by, but tell you what, this is a great time of year to get out for so many reasons we talked about earlier in this video. So get out there, have some fun, catch some fish, set some hooks for me, get somebody out fishing, and also go support your local youth football team, whether it's high school, youth level. They're playing on Friday night lights now. It's so fun to watch football. Even if you don't have a kid in sports, go check it out. Grab a popcorn and a hot dog and a pop, sit in the stands and root on your hometown football program. So get out there, have some fun, be safe. We'll catch you next week.